Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about a story that, honestly, has just flipped the entire AI world on its head. We're going to dive into how Google, the company everyone thought was the biggest loser in the AI race, pulled off one of the most unbelievable comebacks in tech history. All right, so to really understand what happened, we got to start with the one moment, the one decision that sent shockwaves through the entire tech industry and just completely scrambled the AI pecking order.
For what felt like forever, the AI race was pretty much a closed shop, right? It was a three-horse race. You had OpenAI with their incredible models, Microsoft bankrolling everything, and of course, NVIDIA making all the chips. Google? They weren't really part of that top-tier conversation. Well, that whole story has just been completely blown up.
So, January 2026, this is when it all went down. Apple, they're in this do-or-die situation with Siri, which, let's be honest, was struggling. They had to make a huge call. And what did they do? They didn't go with ChatGPT, the obvious choice. Nope. They picked Google's Gemini. And just like that, boom! The ground shifted for literally everyone in AI.
Which brings us to the big question we're tackling today. How in the world did Google, the company that became famous for its public AI faceplants, suddenly pull off this amazing turnaround? How did they become the chosen one for a giant like Apple?
Okay, to get the comeback, you first have to understand the fall. We need to rewind a bit, because not that long ago, Google wasn't making headlines for winning. Oh no, they were making headlines for their very public and pretty painful AI mess-ups.
And it was a really brutal time for them. I mean, think about this. They invented the core tech that all modern AI is built on way back in 2017. But then, they lost most of the brilliant people who actually created it. So from 2023 to 2025, while OpenAI was just taking over the world, it felt like Google was constantly playing catch-up. Every single public demo seemed to be a disaster, and it just hammered home this idea that they'd completely lost their way.
I mean, that first demo for their AI Bard, it was a total catastrophe. The AI gave a wrong answer live, on stage, and it wiped out $100 billion from their stock value. Just poof, gone. I mean, you can't get a much clearer sign from the market that you've messed up, right?
And that feeling was everywhere, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, everybody was saying the same thing. Google had the OG tech, the foundational stuff, but it just seemed like they couldn't, for the life of them, figure out how to package it into a product that could actually win.
But, and this is the big twist in the story, while everyone was watching, and let's be honest, kind of laughing at these public screw-ups, Google was doing something else. Behind the scenes, they were quietly building their real secret weapon.
And this secret weapon, it wasn't just a new, flashy AI model. No, it was way bigger than that. It was what we call a vertical AI stack. Basically, it means they decided to build and control every single part of the AI pipeline themselves, from the silicon all the way up to the software.
So, what does that look like? Well, it starts at the very bottom with their own custom chips, their TPUs. Then you layer on their huge network of global data centers. On top of that, you have all the optimized software to make it run like a dream. And then, right at the top, you have the Gemini model itself. By owning that entire chain, they didn't have to rely on anyone else. And that gave them this huge, stable, and this is key, super cost-effective advantage. And the real star of the show, the crown jewel of that whole stock, is their custom TPU chip. Get this. The newest one is almost 5 times more efficient, so 5 times the performance for the same amount of power compared to NVIDIA's best chip. And that is the whole game. That insane efficiency is what makes running a giant AI, like the one needed for Siri, so much cheaper and more reliable for them than for anyone else. So this whole secret weapon wasn't just about making their tech stable. It started to do something that a lot of other AI players were having a really hard time with. It started making tons of actual real money. The adoption rate has been just staggering. I mean, today, 70%, a full 70% of Google Cloud's big business customers are using their Gemini AI tools. This isn't just some tech demo or hype. We're talking about massive, real-world companies integrating this stuff into their daily operations. And all that adoption, it leads directly to cold, hard cash. Right now, Google is sitting on a backlog of over $106 billion in contracts. These are from huge companies, banks, major retailers, you name it, all signing multi-year deals to use Google's AI. It's real money for real services.
Now, this financial picture gets even more interesting when you put it side by side with their biggest rival, Microsoft.
I mean, Microsoft had a massive head start with their OpenAI partnership, but the story on their end was, well, it was very different.
See, the big problem for Microsoft was that the cost to run all that fancy AI was actually growing faster than the money they were making from it. And that really spooked investors. It led to a jaw-dropping $360 billion drop in their stock value in one day. Simply put, they were burning more money on AI than they were earning.
So what does all this mean? It means Google's comeback wasn't just a story about Google. It was a signal that the entire AI race had fundamentally changed. The rules of the game were being rewritten right before our eyes.
And you can see this new reality spelled out right here. Google's stock rocketed up because they proved they could actually make money from AI. Microsoft's stock took a nosedive because their spending was out of control. And NVIDIA, the undisputed king of AI hype, their stock went kind of sideways because all that future success was sort of already baked into the price. The market was sending a very clear message.
So, the big question, did Google actually win the AI race? Well, maybe not in a game over kind of way, but what they absolutely did was prove the game itself has changed. It's not about who has the coolest demo anymore. Now, it's about who can build a real, sustainable, and profitable AI business.
And that leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. The first chapter of the AI race, the hype phase, that's over. We're now in Chapter 2, the race for profits. So in this brand new era where making money is what actually matters, who do you think is really set up to win now?